Okay? Sige. How does the SSS fund work? Ganito lang po yan. Ang pinanggagalingan ng pondo ng SSS ay ang mga contribution ng mga employers ng mga nagtatrabaho sa Pilipinas, pati na po ang mga workers na katulad ninyo. Okay? So dalawa po yan. Pumapasok po yan sa reserve fund at dyan naman po nanggagaling ang mga benepisyong binibigay namin sa mga members, sa kanilang dependents, at pati na rin sa pambayad ng mga services namin. Okay? Sa pagka minus mo ang lahat ng pumapasok, sa lumalabas, ayun naman ang pumupunta sa 10 million or 11 million in 200 plus countries, how we have reached out to them, and a few updates on our programs and services. Sige po. Okay. Sabi nila, madalas, sino po ba dito ang mga may SSS number? Ayan. Okay.
Member yan, pero walang number. Walang number.
Member. So, bago pumunta sa Austria, may mga SSS?
Yes.
Okay. So, ilan naman po dito ang mga nagpatuloy hanggang nandito sila sa Austria? Okay. So, medyo nabawasan. Sino naman po dito yung may amnesia na, nakalimutan na yung SS number, at nakalimutan na rin maghulog? Ayan. Harinawa, pagkatapos ng aking presentation, ay lahat kayo makukumbinsi ko na magpatuloy ng inyong SSS contributions. At huwag nyo nang sanang hintayin na magkaroon tayo ng appointment kay San Pedro bago po kayo ay magpatuloy. Okay? Sige. Understanding the SSS program, sino po ang sakop? Unlike Pag-ibig, kami po ay voluntary para sa mga overseas Filipinos. Hindi yung sinasabi dyan na OFW, hindi kayo OFW. Wala namang kung kontrata eh. Hindi. Lahat ng wala sa Pilipinas ay tinatawag namin overseas Filipino workers. Okay? Yan. So, voluntary po siya. Sige po. Paano po natin kinocompute ang contributions sa SSS? Una po, meron tayong tinatawag na monthly salary credit. Ang minimum na monthly salary credit namin ay 86 euros. Ang maximum ay 276 euros. To that monthly salary credit, you multiply the contribution rate, which is now at 11%. If you multiply the two factors, you get the contribution amount, which is at the minimum monthly of only 9 euros. Baryang-barya sa inyo. The maximum is also barya, which is 30 euros. Okay, maximum under the regular program of the SSS is only 30 euros a month. Okay? Ano po ang mabibigay ng 30 euros na ito? Yang lahat ng benepisyo na yan. Magmula sa maternity, pag ikaw ay nanganak o nagkaroon ng miscarriage, pag nagkasakit, sickness benefit, pagka nabalda, disability benefit, whether partial or temporary or permanent, hanggang sa retirement. Okay? Pag retire ninyo, namatay kayo, may benepisyo pa rin. Okay? At magtataka kayo, bakit pagka namatay pa ako, ay tumatawid pa yung benepisyo ko sa aking legal spouse. Okay? Yan, importante yung discussion
in Austria. A special thanks for the invitation for today to the Philippine Embassy. We have a good cooperation since years, and sadly speaking, a lot of our clients are from the Philippines, but we thank you so much for the good cooperation between us. Okay, so EEF is working since 1998 and focuses on diverse situations of exploitation of migrant women in Austria. And we work with women who are forced to work in prostitution. We work with women who are brought to Austria for the purpose of marriage and then are exploited here. And the last years we also work much more with women who are working in different fields like tourism, agriculture, care work, and households, and face exploitation and slavery-like conditions. Our goal at EEF is to offer opportunities to strengthen the scope of action of women and girls who are victims of human trafficking. So first of all, I want to define what is human trafficking? It is a crime and a human rights violation under international law, and there exist a lot of documents about it, but I want to give you our definition. Maybe the next one? Maybe it has to load. So what is our definition of trafficking? Yeah. Trafficking in women, and we especially speak about trafficking in women because the highest percentage of trafficked persons are women. Trafficking in women means when a woman engages in migration on the grounds of deceit or false promises and then finds herself in a coercive situation in the target country. Trafficking in women means when a woman finds herself in a situation where she has no rights and is forced to provide certain services. Trafficking in women means when she is stripped of her dignity, personal or sexual integrity by her husband or employer. This is our basic definition of trafficking. I will focus my talk today on the exploitation of domestic workers in diplomatic residences, to raise the awareness of this topic because, as all of you know, it's rarely recognized in public because it's a very hidden sector, and also, of course, because perpetrators cannot be charged under Austrian criminal law because diplomats enjoy immunity here, and this is one of our biggest problems. I will start my talk with Austrians' efforts to prevent human trafficking for domestic servitude in diplomatic households and give you some brief information about rules and controlling mechanisms because there has been a lot of work done in the last 5 years. Austria hosts around 119 embassies, 54 permanent missions and 30 international organizations, and around 200 to 240 private domestic workers who work in these diplomatic residences.
Such a template that's practical, and we say to the employer, oh, by the way, thank you for our verbal agreement, but it will be useful for yourself and for myself if we sign this together. Something like that, if that exists at all. So for now, that's all new.
Sorry, do you mind if we do everything step by step?
I think we do it
I
with
think
this
it
one
would
first.
be
Thank you
the
very
best,
much.
yeah. So, if you're an employee, if you require information about your rights, what you can do is you can look at the website, all right, from the Austrian Labor Chamber of Labor, which is the Österreichische Arbeiterkammer. Okay, I think that the address is www.akvien.at. I think so. All right, it's a very extensive website which provides very much information, very detailed information about rights of employees. Okay. In regards to collective bargaining agreements, as I said, every single industry branch has its own collective bargaining agreements. At least 99% of all employees will be covered by a collective bargaining agreement. The question is simply which collective bargaining agreement is applicable. Okay, I know it's a very complicated matter, but there are websites that list basically every single collective bargaining agreement, right, that has been concluded and which is in effect right now. I think, yeah. If you look at the website of the Arbeiterkammer, akv.at, it has the collective bargaining agreements there. If you look at the website, it's called Wirtschaftskammer, which is the Chamber of Commerce. All right. They also have collective bargaining agreements listed there. And if you look at the website of the labor unions, okay, I think it's right, dpj.at, I think so. Yeah, they always have all collective bargaining agreements listed there. Okay, worst comes to worst, just Google collective bargaining agreements, in German, Kollektivvertrag. Okay, which is basically collective bargaining agreement in German. All right, just simply Google it, and then afterwards write. Just Google like Kollektivvertrag, and then afterwards write like your job. If you're a domestic helper, Google Kollektivvertrag Hausangestellte. If you're a waitress, Google Kollektivvertrag halt für das Gastronomiegewerbe. Okay, which is basically for the hospitality industry. If you have any questions, you can certainly contact me as well. If you're unsure in regards to minimum salaries or like minimum terms of your employment, all right, just feel free to contact me as well. I think there's a newsletter which has been going around, which has my contact details on there. Okay, the most important provision is as well, most collective bargaining agreements provide for 14 salaries, okay? Most people think they only get 12 salaries per year, right, at the end of every single month. Most collective bargaining agreements for employees provide for 14 salaries. That means that you get your 12 salaries plus a 13th salary, I think end of May, beginning of June before your vacation, and then the 14th salary with your November remuneration. Okay, that means you get 14 salaries and you have tax benefit. Normally your salary is basically subject to 33% taxation on the average of 40%. Your 13th and your 14th salary are only subject to 6% taxation. That means that you always get much, much more. Okay, so that is very important. I mean, it's a very complicated issue. If you have any questions, just send me an email, please. Okay, I think I have my contact details in the newsletter, but I'll still send my newsletter around. Okay, if you have any more questions.
And the last one is the Austrian labor law that we're discussing. Is it
Yes.
applicable to employer relationship covered by international organizations?
Well,
UN
yes.
organizations?
Yeah, certainly. Okay. Okay. It's basically like this. Austrian labor law is applicable in Austria and covers covers all of Austria. If you have any labor disputes with any diplomats, okay, diplomats are exempted from Austrian jurisdiction. That means that you cannot sue a diplomat within Austria. However, okay, diplomatic immunity is like only valid for the time that the diplomat remains diplomat in Austria, as long as he has diplomatic status in Austria. Okay, if you work for a diplomat who comes from Italy or from France, from the UK, if he's working here, and if you're working as his domestic helper, then for the time that he is here as diplomat, you cannot file a claim against him. Okay, once his diplomatic status is ended, okay, if he moves back to the UK, back to France, Switzerland, Italy, wherever, then you can file a claim. Within Europe, it is very, very easy. Okay, you can file a claim against someone living within the EU, let's say in Spain or in like whatever, you know, like Italy, in Austria. It is very, very easy to do this nowadays. That's why once your employer has ceased stop working here, you can file a claim against him in Austria. Okay. In regards to the costs, yes, we're lawyers, we don't work for free, of course. So what I do recommend everyone, all right, is to basically get a so-called Rechtsschutzversicherung, which is a legal insurance. It costs us 20 euros a month, perhaps 30 euros, or perhaps 300 euros per year. Okay, it is not that cheap. Well, I mean, it's not that expensive, okay, but it will cover the costs. Okay. Normally, okay, if you file a claim against your employer, you have to pay a certain amount of money to court, okay, which are the cash expenditures. They're always associated with a claim, depending on like how much money.
Babaylan Network Council of Representatives, and one is Cecil Check, which holds its meeting annually and through participation of its members in the Babaylan Congress, the highest body, which meets in a General Assembly that takes place every 2 years. Babaylan Austria has a chairwoman or president, a vice president, a secretary and an alternate secretary, a treasurer and assistant treasurer, a public relation officer, and an auditor, all with specific responsibilities. The executive board has the decisive authority and is composed of the officers, but of course without the alternates. Babaylan Austria aims to promote Filipino women's empowerment in educational, economic, cultural, and social spheres. We provide assistance to women and children in needs. We contribute also to the continuing enlightenment and liberal education of Filipino migrant women. We also establish links of support with women's group of the nationalities in Europe and in the Philippines. We also provide channels of campaign on women's issues and contribute to the strengthening of family ties. Our activities and campaigns, like media work, networking among women of the national and Europe-wide level, educational and self-development courses, activities of charitable causes with preference given to organizations with causes directly related to our aims, like women's children crisis centers. We also participate in the contributing to humanitarian campaign and projects, referrals to other organizations, private and governmental institutions in legal, health, educational, and socio-cultural areas, providing practical advices, for example, on housing and additional insurance needs for Filipino women. Fundraising in the form of cultural
Filipino to join the group of the European women. And 1992, we went to the Barcelona, making the next 2 years to be grouped again with like a family. So we reformed the Netherlands group as Filipina in Europe. We did it as Babaylan, as we name it in the name of United Kingdom, selected. Los Bimenda lost because there are so many already patented names. So we bought Babaylan in Austria. We brought here in 1992. 1994 we brought from Zurich the name Babaylan. Until now, 20 years of Babaylan in European network, we're still going. Assisting women, women issue, rape, harassment, women exploitation, women, undocumented, and of course we are with the human rights also lately, and with the help of the Philippine Embassy. Really, it's a big help, and also us to them. Now, our president now, Carmen Pacaige, joining all what we can do the social cultural activities. We're going the process of educational system as what we call K-12 program in the Philippines. I hope the embassy will give us the next year about this system in the Philippines that we would like to be in connection. Also, why? Because we wanted that the parents, families knows about our system of education, why the children is being integrated in this European network of education. Babaylan is also a co-founders of the diaspora last 2 years ago, and we're joining and participating the program, and we are all echoing what is really here. So I thank you so much because tomorrow I have to go to the Philippines. And I'm so happy with the help of our dear beloved Tony Busa. Thank you so much, Carol. I thank you so much. But Consul, everybody.
Kung may alam ho kayong nangangailangan ng tulong at makakaya namin, you can always come to us.
Harassment rape is the #1 and the woman issue. Isolation and discrimination.